sitting in the hallway of the apartment that I've lived in for the last 14 years. The only place that's ever actually really ever felt like home for me. I knew that this was coming. Definitely not the way or the circumstances that I expected it to, but that's life, right? You can see this isn't even the most chaotic part. Probably my hallway is like the most peaceful place in my apartment right now. My kitchen, my bathroom, my bedroom, my living room are chaos. And I'm just like praying for the strength to be able to get everything organized and out before I have to be out of this place on the 15th. I have been so many different people in this apartment. I've experienced so much growth and evolution and change, heartbreak, disappointment, grief, joy, loneliness. And, the main thing that I know about my life is that the way that I grew up was extremely chaotic and dysfunctional, and there was literally nothing that I could rely on growing up, no consistency. And so the last 15 plus years, I had been pretty much living a pretty consistent life. Like I said, I've been in this apartment for 14 years. I had a pretty consistent career over the last 15, 16 years. And that provided a lot of stability and grounding for me and my healing. And then starting in 2020, it's interesting how this life that I had built for myself started to feel suffocating and restrictive and uninspired. But I didn't really know how to change, how to shift, how to evolve out of the structures that I had spent so much time building and appreciated, right? Had helped sustain me for so long. And definitely the last 4 years has been about understanding myself in a deeper way, understanding the call of my soul in a deeper way, understanding the reality that I have been living in, the good, the bad, the ugly, understanding the limitations of the reality I've lived in and the programming that told me that I had to keep doing what I had always done because it was the only way, because my human, my ego, ego's not all bad. We require it to operate in this reality, but it is solely focused on safety and what it feels is required to survive. And so in order to survive in the dominant culture, to continue doing what I had always done really was the only way. And so there was a lot of inner conflict and struggle within me about the fact that for me it wasn't working anymore. And I felt like I was going through the motions. And at certain points felt like I was selling my soul, especially given the fact that my personal values are not aligned with big tech or corporations or capitalism. And yet the programming would just continue to tell me, yeah, but you got to pay the bills. Yeah, but you got to do this. Yeah, but you got to do that. And there were a lot of things that I started to do and question in myself. Really to take some accountability for how I was keeping myself locked in a life that didn't align with my personal values, because that was always the hardest part for me. And I'd be lying if I said I know what I'm doing or what's next. I really don't. I just know that I have been following my soul's guidance and walking by faith for several months now. And every time I think I'm not going to be able to figure it out or find a way, I do. And I feel honored and privileged that I've been able to make a way despite the chaos, the fears, the losses. I've had to really confront whether I was going to choose comfort or freedom. And I had this conversation with a good friend the other day that, I don't really know what people think freedom is, right? What does anything mean, right? It's very subjective. But choosing to remove myself from the dominant cultural narrative and values of what I'm supposed to do to be happy and successful, and choosing what has felt like resonance and alignment in my soul has been one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. I am extremely uncomfortable. I have had to shed so many layers, so many desires, so many comforts, and I'm continuing to. This is literally just the beginning of this journey for me. And I'm in free fall right now. I'm getting rid of 80% of my belongings. I know even some of the things I'm keeping, eventually I'm going to have to get rid of those things. I'm grateful I have a place to store my stuff right now, and that I will have a bed to sleep in while I figure out what's next. I will be doing some travel to visit family due to my mother's passing. She was from El Salvador, so I'll be with family for a little while, and storing my stuff with family here in the States. And I really don't know what happens after that. And I don't think I'm supposed to. My ego, my human wants to know the plan, wants to know what's next, wants to know, like, well, how are you going to do this? And how are you going to do that? And how are you going to do the other thing? And that's how I live my life. Understandably, right? I went to university, I got my college degree, I got my first job in tech, and I just continued to climb that ladder. That ladder turned into a hamster wheel. I started to delve into other skill sets that I have within myself, learning about tarot, becoming a certified life coach, and, who I am, what my values are, what my life looks like, what I can provide to others. It's going to continue to evolve, and I know right now I just need to be with what's happening in my life. And so I know this is the path, even if I can't see the path. I've brought this poem up in a few of my readings. I think it's David White had mentioned this poem about, like, how do you know that you're on the right path? Because the path disappears. And he talks about being in the middle of the forest and the fact that the trees and the bushes and the plants are not lost. And so even when you feel like you don't know what the next step is, to trust the path that is being revealed one step at a time. And I'm really leaning into that right now. And I don't know, I just felt the need to document this moment, to take a breath, to show gratitude for my past selves, past versions of me, for this apartment that has been a safe container for me for the last 14 years, and to acknowledge for anyone else who may be going through something similar. It's not going to be the same, but where you are confronting the comforts that keep you stuck in a life, in a job, in a reality that no longer resonates with you, that um, it starts in the mind. It starts with questioning who you are, what your values are, and really being honest with yourself about the things that you're doing to contribute to being stuck and what that means. You know, whether it's keeping quiet about what's happening in other parts of the world, how your tax dollars are being spent, to engage in acts of brutality and oppression that you probably don't personally align with, confronting the truth about how your complacency, your comfort, and doing what you've always done contributes not only to your own suffering, but to the suffering of others. It's not easy work, but it has to start somewhere. And I have zero regrets and fully trust myself, my guides, my angels, and the universe to carry me forward and to help me figure out what's next. So if you are here and along for the journey, um, thank you. Sending you all lots of love. Peace.